Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'll be talking about Flutter Hive package. How can you store data in your local storage on your physical device? And we will be using Hive for that. It is actually very easy to implement that. I'll show you how to do basic CRUD operations like writing, reading, update and delete as well. And I just want to request you to please do not skip this video and continue coding with me till the last of the video so that you can finish up building this application without any issue and without any problem. So we will be creating something like that. Clear this. If you will press, all the data is deleted. Now if you will press on this add data button and you need to fill here some details, something like xyz and for the email xyz@gmail.com. Now if I'll press this create new button, it will be added here. Let me add one more. So here are two data is added in this application, and you can also edit this ABC access and also that. Now here when you will click on this edit button, the text on this button is also changing here from add new to update. And as soon as I'll click on that update button, see my data is updating. And again with this delete button you can delete the data, and if you will press this icon at the top, it will delete all the data present in your Hive database. And definitely I'll put the source code file on GitHub and will share the link with you. You can check that GitHub link in the description box. So without wasting any time, let's jump into the code right after this intro. So I've created new project and I'm just going to remove all these codes, and here I'm creating one page dot file main_screen, and it would be stateful widget. Let me import the package. Here I'll use scaffold. Let me run this. Yes, and also remove this debug banner. So debug check code banner, make it false. Save, and now go to pubspec YAML. Need to install one package. This one, hive_flutter. Simply go to pubget. So my package is installed. I have created brand new application where I have removed all the boilerplate codes, and now I'm just going to start coding for the CRUD operation. So inside this main, first of all make it async, and here we will use widgets flutter binding dot ensure initialized. Why we are actually using this? Because it is used so that void main function can be initiated after successfully initiation of data. So after that we will use await, and now I'll use our hive dot init flutter. Here we have initialized our Hive database here, and after that to open the user Hive box, again we will have to type here await hive dot open box, and here we will have to provide specific key or string. So for that I'm just going to create another file so that we can make our constant separate, constant underscore data. So here we will be using const string user Hive box. I'll provide string as user box. So whenever we need this string, we will call it from here. Inside this we will call user Hive box. So our main.dart file. Coding is complete. Till now, what we are doing, we are initializing our Hive database, and to open the Hive box, we have already opening it, and now we will create separate functions for saving our data in Hive database. Now I'll create another file where I'll put my all the Hive functions for storing, retrieving, and deleting, updating data. Hive functions. Class. The name of the class would be Hive functions. So first of all, we will have to create the box where we will store our data. So for that, static final name will be user box equal to hive dot box, and here we will use the same string which we have used in opening the hive box. So the string is user hive box, this one, and it is coming from this const data. So after that, we will start creating functions for separate operations like creating user, updating, deleting. First of all, I'll create function for creating user. Like whenever we will provide name and email ID, and on the click of that add button, the user will be added with the help of this function. So static create user map data. What we know that map will take data in the form of key and value. User box dot add, and here we will add our data. That's it. And we'll create another function to get all users from the Hive database. So static, it will provide list of data. That is why I'm taking a list to get all users and curly braces, and here I will take final variable like data equal to user box dot keys dot map. Here we will put key and curly braces, final value equal to user box dot get, and we'll pass the key here, and it will return to list, and it requires return type of list, so return key would be like for name it is name, and the value will be name, and email is for the value of email, and from here we will return the data got reversed or to list. I'm using reverse here because the first data to be inserted in the list, I want it to be visible on the screen here at the top. That is why I'm using here reversed. Again, I'll create another method for update user. So update user and it will ask for the position and the data. So user box dot put, and here we will provide key and data. Now I'll create another function for deleting the user. Delete user. For deleting user, we want only the position of the list for which we are deleting the user data. So int key return user box dot delete, and we'll pass the key here. And last method that I'll create is for deleting all the user data. Delete all user. So it will return user box dot delete all. This time our key would be user box dot keys. So we have created Hive functions file having all the function which will be used in our main screen. So now let's jump into the main screen for the UI and implementing the functionalities to create, update and delete user. So let's start with the UI part. First of all, I'll add here app bar. App bar. It will take title. And as the widget, I'll pass here text. And as a text, operations. We make it Hive CRUD operations. Add here const. Till then, let me run this. This is the app bar, and I want here delete all button. So for that, we will add here action, and inside that I'll use icon button. And as icon, I'll be using here icon widget, and inside icons dot playlist remove outline. You can choose the icon according to your desire. I'm working on functionalities, so let me align this. Save this. This is the icon. So on press, we will do functionality later. Inside the body of scaffold, I'll be using here column. And column will take children. So here inside column, we will add our list. But before that, I want to add here floating action button. So on press of that, dialog will be appear, and in that dialog there will be text field where we will put our values. So after app bar, floating action button dot extended, and as label I'm using text as add data, and icon I'll use icons dot add. Let me add constant. Now let me save this, and here you can see this floating action button. So for now we will have to work on this on press of this floating action button. So on press of this we want to show dialog where we will put our data. So we will create separate function for that. Show form. Here it will take integer item key. If, let me apply some condition, if item key not equal to null, this would be case where we will update our data. So here if there is data inside item key, then what it will do, then it will fetch the data from our Hive database, else it will come inside. We will do coding for this form, but before that we will have to create some. So first of all we will have to create our list where we will save the Hive data of current context. So list my Hive data, and it will be empty string. And let me also define to text editing controller. This one is for name controller. This would be for email controller. And after that I'll create one method which will provide all of the saved user data inside Hive database when we will run our application for the first time. So get Hive data, and once it will provide the data, so what we will do, we will initialize this list with that particular list of data which will be provided by Hive database. So my Hive data equal to, now I'll call all the functions that I have created in this Hive functions file. So I'm calling Hive functions dot get all users. If you will go inside this get all users, you can see that it will provide list of all the saved data inside Hive database. So I'm calling this, and after that set state. And we want this data once our app start to build, so we will call this inside init state. So we will call this function get Hive data inside the init state. So now we will come inside this show form where we can save our user data. So if the item key is not null, then what it will do, creating here one variable final existing item. It will come inside this condition when we will update our data. So it is checking if item key not equal to null means there is data inside particular position of Hive database. So we'll check the list my Hive data dot first where. It will check element and the key will be equal to item key. Then it will provide the data to this text field controller. This is for the name, so name, and let me copy this for email, and here we use email. Item key is null, then it will provide empty string. And then we will show model bottom sheet. So for that, show model bottom sheet. Let me add semicolon here. As a builder, we will have to pass here build context. Build context, and it should be context and return. We will provide here container semicolon. Let me add here some elevation of 5 and page scroll true. Now we will do coding inside this container. First of all, we will provide padding here. Not only from bottom media query dot of context dot view insets dot bottom. From top it would be 15. Left again 15, and from right again 15. And as a child, I'll use here column. Children, but before that, let me add some properties of this column. Main exercise dot minimum and cross axis alignment start. And inside children, and use text widget for showing message at the top, like create new user or update. So for that we'll have to apply some condition here also. If item key is equal to null, then it will show create new otherwise it will show update user. And let me wrap this with center. Let me provide some styling also to this text. Text style. Font size 22. Font weight dot weight of 600. Now if we will call this function, just for showing purpose, we need to add text field and other conditions also, but for only visuals I just want to show you. When you will tap on this floating action button, we need to call this show form, and here we will pass none, because whenever we will tap on this, it means that we need to add new user. That is why we are passing here null. Let me save it. Now when I'll tap this is my bottom sheet, and this is create new because we are adding new user here. So condition is working fine. So after this we will have to add text field. So text field, this is for name, and we need to add another text field. This is for email. So inside this text field we will add controller. So controller, email controller, and then decoration, input decoration. Here I'll use only for showing hint text. Name, let me provide here constant. Little bit of space between these two text fields, so height of 10. And again for this email text field, let me copy this, paste it here, and for the controller, okay, this one is email controller and this one is name controller. Perfect. And instead of this hint text name, I'll make it email. And again after this, let me provide some space for adjusting our button, 20. And till now let me save this and see the results. Now if you will tap on this, you can see these two text fields are added. So just below this we want particular update or add new button. On tapping of that, our data will be added or updated. So let's continue. Elevated button. As a child we will add here text widget, and here also we will apply that condition whether the text of this button would be create new or update. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy this and paste it here. So if there will be item key, it will show update, otherwise If item key would be null, it will show create new. Now let me run this. This is the button added. Now we will have to provide some space also from the bottom. So after this elevated button, size box, we need to provide height here. So height of 20 would be better. Now let me run this. Now it is looking good. So our UI is done. Only the list part is left. So we will do coding for that. But before that, I want to reach at that position where we can store our data in Hive database. So I'll start work on this on press of this elevated button. Inside this elevated button on press, first of all, we will check if our name controller dot text not equal to empty and email controller is also not empty. Email controller dot text. So if they are not empty, means we will be saving or updating the data. So inside this, again we will check that item key. So we will apply condition once again. If item key is equal to null, it means we are adding new user. So here we will call Hive functions dot create user, and as a data we will pass here map, because if you will see this function while creating, we are passing here data as map type. So we will have to pass data inside this in key value pair. So for name, we will put here name controller dot text, and for email, email controller dot text. We need to apply another condition when we will update our entry, update particular user. So for that, if item key is not equal to null, then Hive functions dot, we will call here update user, and here as key we will pass item key, and same as for data we will have to pass here map of data in a key value pair. So I'm just going to copy and paste this here. Let me align this code. Perfect. Now let me run this and we'll show you whether we are getting the data or not. So if you are also getting that exception error like I was getting, so just do one thing, close your application and run it from beginning. I hope you will get rid of this error. So now I will have to add one more condition here. We will have to add some extra line of code here. So after that, name controller dot text, would be empty string, and again for the email because after submitting the value we don't want our text field to be filled, we want our text field to be cleared. So that is why I'm adding this, and also we want to remove this bottom nav after my data is updating or successfully adding in Hive database. So for that, navigator dot off dot pop, and let's suppose if someone press this create new button without filling any value inside the text field, then it will come inside this else condition. So we will print here some value like enter the name and email. And here inside this app bar button, icon button, for removing the list, we will call functions here. Hive functions dot delete all user. So when we will press this icon, it will delete all the user, all the data which is available in our Hive database. You can apply here extra warning or some kind of dialog so that user can press no or yes, or user will be confirmed that his data will be going to deleted. So you can add here dialog or warning message, but for now I'm deleting the data directly when user will click on this button, and then we will call our get Hive data, and after deleting it will call get Hive data, and it will not provide anything, it will provide null. So on behalf of that we will show here the message. So now our app bar button is done, our bottom sheet is done. So now we will do coding for our list. So here inside body of scaffold I'm taking column and children will have list dot generate, length would be my Hive data dot length, and this is the index, and I'm creating here user data variable. So my Hive data dot index, it contains our data from Hive database. So after this return, and as a return we want return widget. So I'm taking here card widget, and as a child of card widget I'm using list tile. Post title will be like using here text widget, and inside this I'll use name string, and I'll fetch the data from this user data for name and for email. So curly braces user data name, and as a subtitle let me copy this, instead of name I'll use here email, and also here email as well, and as a trailing I'm using here row for showing icons, update and delete. Main axis size, main axis size dot min, and as the children I'll provide here icon button which has property of on press and icon. These are mandatory properties. So inside icons dot edit, let me copy this for delete. For delete, let me add here constant. Now as an on press value for both of this edit and delete, as an edit, what we will do, we will open our bottom sheet. So we will have to call show form function and it will ask item key. So here we will pass user data key, user data and the key. And for the delete, we will call hive function dot delete user, and here also we will provide user data, and as a string we will pass here key. Here why I am passing key, because if you will see here, this user data is my hive data, and inside this, if you will see, it is initialized with get all users. So if you will go inside get all users, what is it? It is returning this key and this value. So what is key? So it is providing key from here, user box dot get key. So it is providing the particular key of the particular data. So that is why I'm using this key, and it will detect which key is related to which user data. So that is why for fetching the particular data we are using here key, and for deleting, editing we must require. That is why I'm getting this key from here. Now let me run the application. As you can see, there is no data, and I'm going to add some data here like the code me and the code me @gmail.com. Let me create it here. It is added, I think, and when I'll run this once again, now you can show the data. So there is some loading issue. We will check that. Till now our data is saving inside our Hive database, and let me also check this edit. It is also fetching our data, the code me for Flutter, and instead of this I'll use hive@gmail. Let me update it here. Let me run this once again. As you can see here, it is also updating. The only thing we are lacking is to update our screen. We need to add here condition that if there is no data in my local array, then it will show some message like no data or something like that. So here my hive data dot is empty, then it will show text widget like no data is available. Right? And if it's not empty, then it will show this column Let me add here center constant. Let me align. Let me add some padding also from left right. So what I'll do, copy all this. I'll cut all this and use here padding. It insets all and 8, and as a child I'll pass this. And for this text, I'll provide some styling. Now let me run this once again. Now I'm going to add data here. XYZ. It is not updating here, so that's the issue. Let me remove this message is coming if there is no data. So the problem was it wasn't updating after adding or updating the data, because after this navigator pop, whenever I'm making my bottom sheet disappear, we need to call this function get hive data. So when I'm calling this get hive data, it is calling my all users data from hive function and it is doing set state here. So now when I will run this application, initially there is no data inside hive database. So what we will do, I'll add here flutter@gmail.com. Now if I'll add here, it is now visible here. So let me add it once again. The code me @gmail.com. If I will tap on create new, it will be added. And now let me do some changes here. I want to update this. So Flutter Hive video, okay, and this will be Hive flutter@gmail.com. So if I'll press this update, as you can see here, it is updating. So this is my list, and if I'll click on this, only this particular data will be deleted. Again, it is not working. So what's the issue? So after this delete user, again we will have to add here get hive data. Now let me run this. Now if I'll tap on this delete, it will be deleted, and here no data is available. Let me add 3-4 more data quickly. Added. Now if I want to make changes here, it is updated, and if I'll click on this, let me delete this one, it is deleted, and if I'll click on this, all the data is deleted. So I will put the code on GitHub and will share the link with you, and I will also share the package link in the description box. Make sure you do like this video and subscribe to my channel. If you found this video helpful, then share it with your friends. And if someone is learning Flutter and someone is struggling to save data in local storage, then you can share this video to them also. That's it in this video. Hope to see you next time in a next video. Bye for now.